Hey there YouTube, this is SJM4306 back with another review video. So this time we're actually looking at Akamate. They had contacted me and asked me if I wanted to review their MP3 players, and I'm a pretty critical person when it comes to MP3 players. I use them every day. I know a lot of people use their smartphones. However, I still like having a dedicated tactile sort of MP3 player that only acts as an MP3 player. It's dedicated, and that's all I use it for. So this time, they actually sent me, I believe the model number is the FX200, and it's a hi-fi touch music player. And this sort of reminds me of the last iteration of iPod Touch. With the touchscreen, it's kind of long, candy bar style, has physical buttons on the side. So we're going to actually see how this stacks up to, my idea of what a portable hi-fi MP3 player should be. And here it says red dot 35. Not sure if that's like the model number, if that one is. But anyway, links will be down below. So anyway, it looks very nice. It looks very much like an iPod Touch or an iPod Nano, something of that sort. But the box is actually very nice too. I guess before we open that up, let's just see what it says. 3.5 inch screen, capacitive touch. So pretty much like your cell phone, I guess. Ultra thin full metal body. That'll be nice. Has a one-piece tempered glass on the back, very much like a smartphone it's looking like. Okay, yeah, it looks like it has Bluetooth 5.0, so that'll be really nice using with wireless headphones or my car. We have built-in recording. That's actually interesting. Not that often that you see in dedicated MP3 players the ability to record on board. It has a built-in speaker. We'll have to see just how loud or how good or bad that sounds. Usually on portable devices, the speakers are not really an afterthought, but not made for serious listening. It's just for like dictation or something like that. So we'll see about that. This guy has 8 gigabytes memory built in, and that's not that much, honestly, but the important thing is that it actually has a built-in micro SD card slot. And it says here it supports up to 128 gigs, and we'll see if it supports more than that, in fact. So it has a USB Type-C port for charging as well as data. That's actually interesting. They've upgraded from micro USB. I prefer Type-C much more now in terms of reliability and speed, so we'll have to see that. It supports a lot of other different functions, clock, date, I guess a calendar mode, game, video, ebook, image. I'm not really going to go too in-depth into those. I'm intending to use this as an MP3 player, so it's nice that it has all those features. I'm not really going to care too much about those. It supports different playback modes. That's nice. A/B repeat. You can do playlist support. That's really nice. Variable speed playback. That's interesting. Make learning easier. I guess intend this to use sort of to practice, I don't know, speaking a language or something. That's interesting. Other than that, it supports a lot of different random formats. Ones that I'm specifically interested in, I guess these are videos: AVI, MKV, WMV, VOB, MOV, FLV, etc. MP4, of course. It says it supports 1080p video. Given how small the screen is, though, I wouldn't exactly sit down and watch an entire movie. That might be a bit too much, but anyway, more importantly, for the music side, it supports a lot of different formats. Of course, you have your kind of compressed WMA, MP3, WMA. I specifically have kind of moved most of my library over to FLAC, so we'll see just how playback sounds on that. And it supports even some, I believe, Apple's format, AAC and ACE, CP, AP, all that stuff. So anyway, most of my audio library is in either FLAC or MP3, so that's what we'll be testing. It does support lyrics. I mean, album cover display definitely I'll be using. The lyrics, I don't really ever add lyrics to the songs I have, so that's sort of meh. Anyway, it says it has over 7 days of standby time, so I guess that's if you put it to sleep and keep it on, and 15 hours continuous music playback, 5 hours of video. 15 hours is, I think, a reasonable runtime for like a standalone MP3 player, but was definitely hoping for a little longer than that, but we'll see. Maybe they're conservatively setting this, and probably if you listen to like MP3s at lower bit rates, you'll get quite a bit more runtime than if you're listening to uncompressed like FLAC or WAV. But anyway, we'll see. And finally, we have a on-the-go adapter, so you can actually connect this to your phone, I guess for downloading music. Yeah, for transferring data. That's fascinating. That's interesting. Okay. And yeah, it comes with a lot of stuff, which we'll actually take a look at right now. Really like the box on this. Pretty nice. We have the player, which I'm just going to set to the side right here. And we're going to look at the accessories that it comes with first. So here we have a audio patch cord, so I can plug this into like a external speaker or my car or whatever. That's nice. We have a pair of headphones, which, I mean, I'll give them a listen. They look to be mimicking kind of the Apple EarPod style headphones. I'm not expecting much. Pack-in headphones are nice to have. I keep them in a drawer for emergencies, but I don't seriously listen to these. I'll be using my own headphones. And we have the USB-C connector, USB-C cable. It's nice that they include that. More and more devices are including these, but it's not quite, mainstream compared to like micro USB that everyone has a drawer full of these yet. So I appreciate that it comes with one. And we have the on-the-go adapters. Wow. Okay, so we have one for micro USB, and it basically just converts it to full size, so you can plug this into your phone. And then we have a looks to be a USB-C to full-size USB. So I have a Samsung S8 Plus, so I will be using this guy in my case. Though I'm probably just going to transfer most of my music to the SD card, so I likely won't use that very much. Anyway, nice that includes a armband, it looks like, if you're going to be running and jogging and whatnot with this MP3 player. Let's just see the quality of this. Now, I think I forgot to mention at the beginning, this guy retails, I think, for about $50. So that's actually pretty. It's expensive for an off-brand MP3 player, but it's cheap for a high-end player. So we'll have to see just how high-end the features and the playback quality and whatnot are. So this could either be a good deal or an okay deal, but we'll see. But it definitely comes with a lot of accessories. I'm actually kind of surprised. This case is, it's okay. Would have liked to see like neoprene or this being stretchy. This is actually just barely stretchy, so I don't know. I probably wouldn't actually carry this kind of player around while I'm jogging. I would probably actually just use this, in public, just as a casual player. And finally, we actually have a nice a TPU case for this. This is actually really nice that they include this. This is like the first thing I buy when I get a device that's like nice and metal and glass. I'll buy one of these kind of clear cases. So that's really nice that they include this. You don't have to buy this separately. And we have a user manual. And yeah, I don't need a user manual. I'll learn it just by using it. Anyway, here we have the actual player itself and this nice kind of foam sleeve to protect it. And yet another plastic container thing to keep it scratch proof. Yeah, there's that glass back. And it's like nicely contoured. This actually feels really hefty. I'm surprised. Like I could chuck this at someone and it would hurt. But yeah, this is actually very well made for $50. Wow. Kind of blown away. Now, I'll be honest, I opened this up to test out my micro SD card. I have a 256 gig SD card in there. So yeah, okay, it's off. So yeah, I can show you guys. It's a 256 gig A1 SanDisk Ultra. So this is higher. Officially, this only supports 128 gigs, but we'll see if it works with this guy. Anyway, I guess we can just put this in the case, see how it fits. maybe. Yeah, there you go. So very nice fit. I mean, obviously this was designed just for this device. You have the record button on the side, a reset hole. We have volume up and down, power, USB-C. I guess this is where the speaker is, and a headphone jack. And that's it. Nothing else other than this side is the micro SD card slot. So let's just turn it on. Yeah, just press and hold for a couple seconds. It's booting up. And that was actually pretty quick. So let's see. I don't know if it has to cache the memory card. I have a bunch of MP3s already on here. Okay, so I've been using this guy as just my daily driver for about a week and a half, I'd say. And I actually have a few opinions about this. We'll kind of intersplice some positive, some negative. Well, first off, as I noted in the unboxing, the build quality on this is astounding. It's really nice. This feels like, an MP3 player that costs 2 to 3 times as much as this actually does. This retails for, I believe it was about $50, so it's actually really surprising. It's pretty much like all metal and glass, so definitely kudos on that. Now, when I first started testing, I actually had a 256 gig memory card, and while it did work with this, it was pretty buggy, and I'm not sure how much of that was attributed to I believe this only supports up to like 32 or 64 gigs, so I was running it out of spec. So realistically, that's kind of my fault. So I downgraded to a 16 gig. This was the only other spare card that I had that I could put music on. And pretty much most of the loading time problems and the freezing disappeared once I used a smaller card. So that's something to keep in mind. Anyway, we'll just fire this guy up. There we go. And another thing to note was I was running a lower version of the firmware. Just get out of this and check out. You can see detects a memory card. And let's see what my equipment. There we go. You can see here I'm currently running 1.7. I was running 1.6 before, and there was also some stability issues. So I would get random crashes. I noticed a bug in the shuffle. Music playing ability. Basically what would happen was it would only shuffle between the first 10 tracks or so of a folder, and then it would just loop, and it just wasn't that good, and I got pretty severe crashes, and it was pretty often that it would lock up and I had to press the reset button. So I contacted the manufacturer, and they said, yes, there's actually a firmware update available. They sent it to me. Update went without a hitch. I just put it on a blank memory card. Next time I turned it on, it updated. It took about a minute to do, and this version, I'm glad to say, it's a lot more stable. However, there are a couple issues, so we can just go in here, and I can play you guys a little bit. Let's just see. Let's just select my theme music because I know it's not copyrighted, so I'm not going to get in trouble. Now, we're going to test it with an aux cable into my Bose SoundLink Mini, and you can see it's on auxiliary input. So, should be able to just start. Turn that down. It sounds really good over auxiliary. So if you have headphones plugged into this, or you actually have it patched in via a physical cord, the sound quality on this is actually, it's punching above its weight. I would say it's kind of equivalent to if you guys have ever listened to a Sansa Clip Plus. The audio amp on that and the fidelity is fantastic. So I would say this is in line with that. So a lot better than I expected for a $40 MP3 player. Now, one thing that it does is every time you pause or switch tracks, there is a bit of a delay, and it does this fade out and fade in on the next track. So that's something that I don't think you can turn it off. I've looked in the settings. It might be something that you like. It might be something that you're annoyed with. It just adds a little bit of latency. And overall, this player, when you click a button, it seems to take a little while for it to act. And that's sort of my biggest gripe with this, using this as an everyday player. It just seems kind of sluggish. It could be a little bit faster. Then again, if you just want to play an album through without changing tracks or switching, I don't think that'll be an issue. But if you're like me, I like to search for things. This doesn't really give you much of an option. You can't search for a specific song. For instance, if I go into music, I can't search by artist or anything like that. So the only way you can organize your music is by putting them in folders. And that's sort of what you're stuck with, unfortunately. And additionally, another thing I can show you here. So say you're in, this is the third level of a folder that you're searching in. There's no button that I can find. I can't go home like with one button press. I have to keep pressing back, which is really kind of irritating. So as I said, that sort of limits the appeal of this as a music player if you have like a large number of tracks and you want to browse. Additionally, as you may have noticed, if I just go in here, open something, anything with... Okay, so you can see here, there's more than 7 tracks, including a random folder in there apparently. So if you want to scroll, it's not smooth scrolling, so it just kind of juts up and then it goes to the next page, which is not so bad if you have like only 10 or 20 tracks in a folder. But if you have, for instance, in my main music folder, I have literally hundreds. It's really slow to go through all of them. You can see here it's like very staccato-y, if that is a word that can apply. Which is kind of irritating. So I would suggest, if you are going to get this player, organize your music into folders with like per album or smaller mixes, and this will work great with that. I wouldn't suggest this for someone who has like a very large music library and you want to shuffle through all of it. This is kind of too unwieldy, the UI, the user interface. So I wouldn't advise that, unfortunately. Now, another gripe that I had, so we're going to do a test right now. I haven't actually tested Bluetooth. I tested it on version 1.6 and it was not so great, let's just say. We're going to do a quick test right now using this updated version. Hopefully they fix the stuttering issues and the static that I was experiencing. So we're going to turn this on and hopefully it can find I just switch this on to Bluetooth. Maybe I have to, to put it into pairing mode. And that's another thing. So when you're doing this, you have to wait till that box disappears in order to select anything. Even though it found the player earlier, I had to wait a couple seconds. So it's just, it could have been done better, I think, the user interface. But these are all things that can be patched. So I'm hoping that the manufacturer watches this video and at least considers fixing some of these problems. You can see it actually connected pretty fast, so that was good. So we're just going to go through now. We're going to play the same song and just see how that sounds. So it looks like they fixed it, actually. Okay, so I'm actually surprised. So that's actually a really good thing. So before, when I had it connected via Bluetooth, you could hear some kind of digital, it's really hard to explain. It's like a staticky digital sound that, as long as it was connecting, you would hear through the speaker. So even on pause, now it's dead silent. But definitely when you're playing, you could hear that kind of interference. So that was sort of like a really negative thing that I found with the first version of the firmware, version 1.6 that they sent me. So I'm really happy to hear that they fixed that. So this is actually usable now. Now, obviously, the sound quality over Bluetooth isn't as good as using a patch cord, using a physical wire to hook it up. But this is actually definitely listenable, I would say. Yeah. So definitely, good job to them for fixing that. I didn't even tell them that yet. I was gonna actually, if this did that same thing during the review, I was definitely gonna chew them out for that. Because if you're gonna include Bluetooth in a product, make sure it works. So anyway, yeah, definitely huge kudos on that. That's really cool that they fixed that problem before I even had to say anything. So yeah, anyway, other than that, so audio now is perfect. It's just mainly the UI. I really wish they would fix that. Now, the voice recording, I don't think I'll ever use this as a voice recorder. We can Okay, it's going right now. So testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. So you can stop there, go to file list. Let's play that back. It apparently records into WAV. Okay, it's going right now. So testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. So it just loops. Audio quality, obviously, I'm not going to use this as like my main professional recording device. You can hear that there is interference now. I am on Bluetooth, so let's switch that off. So you can see it took a couple seconds for it to register my touch. Anyway, we're going to switch Bluetooth off now and do another recording and see how good that sounds or how bad. Okay. Testing 1, 2, 3. This is testing without Bluetooth using audio output cord instead. Let's see how this sounds. Okay, let's see. I guess it dates and timestamps it. So that's interesting. It actually locked up and it crashed. And it reset. So yeah, definitely the firmware. See, I told you guys there's definitely some issues with. We'll give that a try again. Hopefully it's not. How do I get into that record menu? File list. Testing 1, 2, 3. This is testing without Bluetooth using audio output cord instead. Let's see how this sounds. So it sounds. There we go. It sounds better. There's a little bit less noise, but definitely the internal mic on this is picking up kind of a lot of distortion, static, or whatever. So yeah, I wouldn't use this as like a main recording device. Other than that, I have played around with some of the settings. There are a couple games, and they're okay. They're entertaining-ish. Of course, using a touchscreen, which is sort of meh. But yeah, one thing that annoys me though is if you're gonna put games on an MP3 player, you have to make them work even when you're listening to music. So if I'm listening to a song and I start a game, it'll stop the song and just play the game. So that's sort of, I wish it could do both, because if I'm going to be listening to music with this and I just want to play a quick game of Tetris and I want to do both simultaneously, that's sort of a nitpick. I don't really play games on my MP3 players, so it's just sort of an extra. Books, I don't think I'd ever read an ebook on a screen that's this small, so I'll probably never use that. Photos and videos, likewise, I have a smartphone for that, so I would pretty much just use this just as an MP3 player. And yeah, other than that, I have found one bug that when you turn this on, if you just put it into sleep mode just by clicking, not by holding the power button, we'll wait about 20 or 30 seconds and the screen will flash and it shuts off. So we'll see if it does that again. It happened to me twice so far, but I don't know if I've ever been able to really reliably reproduce that bug. Okay, I waited about a minute and it didn't do it this time. So, of course, it's going to make a liar out of me when I'm filming. So, who knows? Maybe I had some other setting or I did something else with it that caused it to do that. It's something I think it happened more than once, so definitely they should at least look into it. Sorry about that. I just received another package. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so hopefully they at least look at the stability issues and the user interface issues that I've pointed out. Other than that, there is an onboard speaker. I would not recommend using it. It's pretty tinny, and we can give it a try right now, but definitely use headphones or Bluetooth. So that's the onboard speaker, just these 5 holes here. pretty much what you expect, no bass. But it will get you by if you're just using this for like dictation or something like that. Now, this does have USB-C and the charging works perfectly. Never had an issue with that. So yeah, battery life seems to probably be pretty close to what they specify. So I'm guessing about 15 to 20 hours. Using headphones, obviously. Bluetooth will drain that quite a bit. I've listened to it pretty mixed between Bluetooth and wired headphones. So additionally, the USB-C for file transfers works fine. It's not the fastest device. This isn't USB 3.0. It's 2.0 speed, so you're looking at anywhere from like 15 to 20-ish megabytes per second. So if you have something like a relatively large SD card, like a 32 gig card that you're going to fill up, expect that to take, about probably like an hour or so. So definitely not a speed demon. If you're just going to use the SD card, I would pop it out and put it into like an internal memory card slot in your computer. That'll be much faster transferring. And this guy has 8 gigs internal. The latency between the internal and the external card, it seems about the same in terms of loading music. So I would probably just stick a relatively large SD card in there and put all your music on that. Other than that, I mean, I really like the construction. I just wish that the software was a little more polished. The case that it comes with, the accessories in the case, that's awesome. You pretty much don't really see that at all. The buttons were a little stiff when I first started using this, but after a while you get used to it and sort of wears in. For $50 for an MP3 player, it has really good build quality. It sounds really good with wired headphones. If that's your use, and you're not going to be shuffling through a lot of songs or searching through a lot of songs rather, and you just want to listen to like whole albums, definitely good on that. One thing to note, I think I forgot to mention, if we load up a song and we go into our settings here, so you can actually set EQs, but there is no like 5-band user configurable EQ. That would be a really nice option to have. I currently have it set to rock, which sounds the best to my ears in terms of the bass response. It's not overpowering, but if any of the other settings that I have it on, it seems a little weak. So rock is definitely, it sounds the best to me. The balance between the bass and the treble and the highs. So that's what I have it set to, but it would be nice to have a little more configuration. So in a nutshell, for a $50 MP3 player, this definitely feels like it should cost more. But in the end, I think that there are a couple of pretty important software glitches or usability issues that I would like the manufacturer to take a look at. These are all things that can be patched in a future software update. And they've already patched a couple of the issues that I had in the last version, namely stability issues, and definitely the Bluetooth was horrendous when I used on version 1.6. It seems that they've fixed those issues in this version, so I'm very happy about that. But I'd like to see them fix the rest of the issues, and that'll definitely go a long ways into making this something that I'd want to carry and use as my everyday MP3 player, just while I'm working and while I'm just chilling at home. Definitely, if you guys are interested, I will have links down below. You can take a look at this. They make a couple different models. They make a smaller model without the touchscreen, and all their models have SD card slots. They're expandable, and they all look very, very sharp. So yeah, anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this review, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.